Hey yo, what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Over on my Instagram page, I sometimes post stories where you guys can ask me anything related to music, and quite often I get questions like, what plugins do you use? Are there any good free plugins out there that I can use? What audio workstation is the best? And which speakers or headphones would you recommend for a beginning producer? So I figured I would help you guys out with some of these things, and today I'm going to show you some tools that I use when producing music. So we're going to be taking a look at some awesome free plugins, because let's be honest, we all like free shit. A download link to all of these plugins will be down in the description to make your life easier. And towards the end of the video, I'm also going to be sharing some hardware recommendations for people looking to get into music production. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Sponsor me, please. Alright, let's begin with some software. Now, the heart of your operation obviously is your digital audio workstation. Quite often I get asked, hey yo, KrypteK, bruh. Oh, hey, what's up, man? What DAW is better, do you think? Fruity Loops or Ableton? I actually prefer Logic Pro, but they're equally good. Yeah. HeadX uses Fruity Loops though, so I'm probably going, you know. While it is true that some DAWs workflows are more suited for creating certain genres of music, you can basically work with any DAW you like. Fruity Loops, Ableton, Logic Pro, Cubase, it doesn't matter. Anything you can do in one program can be done in the other. About 4 years ago, I started producing out on a free program called LMMS. Program was super bare bones and honestly kinda shitty to work in, but it did teach me the basics of music production, and ultimately it is what got me hooked on making music. After a few months I moved on to GarageBand, which is arguably the best free DAW out there, and I used that actually as my main DAW for a few months. So always remember, it's the chef, not the kitchen. Now, before I get into these awesome free plugins, I wanted to share with you guys this plugin format guide. Plugins come in many different formats, so it's important to download and install the right one. Depending on what DAW you use and if you're either on Mac or PC, you're going to have to download a certain format to make the plugins run. With that being said, let's get into the plugins. Starting us off, we got a really good free synthesizer plugin. It's called Helm by Mad Title. It comes packed with some pretty neat presets, one of them being this sub bass that's actually super fat. It has a very straightforward UI, so it's not too difficult to operate, and honestly you can get some really nasty sounds out of this one. You can tell it's catered towards creating those heavy bass sounds found in modern music genres like drum and bass, dubstep, or EDM. It has some really useful built-in modules and filters like distortion, format, delay, a good reverb, an EQ filter. Now, another free synthesizer I use is Alchemy, which is actually a stock plugin in Logic Pro X. Unfortunately, that also means that this plugin will only be available for Logic Pro users. I did want to share the synth, however, because it has been one of my main ways to create sounds in my projects for the past year or so. And technically speaking, it is free if you're a Logic Pro user. Here are a few examples of Alchemy synths you can find in my projects. Yeah. Full speed in the lane, still getting it. Right, so next up we got Isotope Vocal Doubler. This plugin is actually intended to use on vocals. However, you can use it to really make your basses huge in the stereo. What it does is it simply doubles your track, and then you can edit the double track with two parameters: time-based separation and pitch-based variation. What I like to do is add this to a second layer that I add to my main synth to make the whole thing wider. Another free stereo enhancer that I can recommend is Wider by Polyverse and Infected Mushroom. This one is super easy to use. You basically have this one parameter you can adjust to make your sound super wide. So you can use that one on synths, intro elements, vocals, whatever you feel like, really. Now, this example also has a really good free reverb plugin thrown on there. It's called Old School Verb by Voxengo. This plugin makes use of algorithmic reverbation. It is technically simple, yet it has a super clean result. It produces a very clear spatial image that blends well in the mix. You have some decent presets included, and you have a lot of parameters you can play around with to really get your reverb sounding just like you want it to sound. This is basically my go-to reverb. I use it all the time on vocals, synths, intro stuff. Here are some examples. Like the video and subscribe. Also, merch coming soon. Better cop that shit, bruh. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to recommend you check out Fracture by Glitch Machines. This is a free glitch effect plugin that can be used to heavily manipulate sounds. I'm not too familiar with how this plugin exactly works and what modules are included in it, but it does come bundled with a bunch of awesome presets you can use to post-process a sound. For example, you can manipulate a certain bass samples and then cut samples out of that to create new basses. You can also use it to post-process certain intro elements to create a super spooky vibe. Okay, so now moving on to hardware. The three most vital pieces of equipment you will need for any music production whatsoever are headphones, an audio interface, and a pair of speakers. I've been using the DT990 Pros by Beyerdynamic for about 2 years now. And whenever someone asks me what studio headphones they should get, I always recommend these. They're lightweight, open back headphones with large ear pads, which makes them super comfortable to wear for long periods of time. You can replace most of the parts, so it's built to last. A cheaper alternative I could recommend is the Divine Pro 4000. They also have a decent frequency response and only cost about 50 euros. However, I would not recommend cheaping out on headphones, since you will need these to get your mix down and mastering sounding as crisp as possible. For the audio interface, I have the UR12 by Steinberg, which is a decent mid-level audio card available for about 90 euros. You get one XLR connector for microphones and one TS connector for instruments, like a guitar for example. There's a balanced RCA output to connect your speakers. You cannot connect a MIDI device to this interface though, so if you want to do that, I recommend the big brother of this audio interface, the UR22 Mark II. Finally, a great pair of budget-friendly reference speakers are the Mackie CR4s. These bad boys seriously pack a punch. There's one active and one passive speaker, so they only require one plug to work. They come with these foam pads included, so you can position and angle them perfectly. The low-end frequencies are a bit on the weak side though, so if you want big bass, I would recommend a pair of bigger speakers like the Yamaha HS7s or the Adam T7Vs. So those were some of the tools that I use to produce my music. Once again, if you want to go check out these plugins for yourself, there's a link in the description down below. Also, if you've got any good plugins that you would recommend to people, be sure to drop them in the comments so other people can check those plugins out as well. Please make sure you hit that like button for me, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want more of these music production related videos on your recommended page. Quick reminder that we're less than 100 followers away from 4K on my SoundCloud page, so once I reach that 4K milestone, I'm going to be giving away 2 free tracks, as well as one of these new t-shirts from my 2020 merch that has yet to drop. Also, if you're looking for exclusive music, monthly production samples and presets, exclusive tutorials, etc, etc, please consider supporting me on my Patreon page, as I'm trying to go full time with this. Yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.